I say this because you are fooling yourself. You're using the excuse of passion to disguise your inability to tolerate hardness. I don't even like saying passion. Interests get you started. Proficiency keeps you going, but pain tolerance helps you finish. And your interests are often incredibly narrow. And addiction is a narrowing of things that bring you joy. Fulfillment is a broadening of them. Hopefully that helps you, which is pick a path and commit to the path. Because the person you want to be is at the end of it, and everything between you now and so then it begs the question, wait a second, why don't you do your passion? Because if you did your passion, you wouldn't work another day in your life. And it's just a very simplistic and inaccurate view of the world. There's only one way that you will truly be able to only do your passion. It means that you would only do this very narrow thing, right? For me at the time was training more advanced athletes who liked powerlifting and had the same work capacity and schedule as me, who were willing to pay me tons of money to do it, right? In order to get those people, you have to do a lot of stuff that is not that to get them. The vast majority of your time will not be anything that you're passionate about. And if that's the case, even when you're pursuing your passion, and I'm saying this as someone who's gone full cycle with this, I now have a gym that has no memberships and it is not for profit. And I'm saying this, that it is okay to make money doing one thing and be passionate about another. And I recently filmed something where I was showing my home gym to Coop from Garage Gym Reviews. Shout out to Coop, great guy. If you're into home gyms, check out his channel, not affiliated. And he asked if I would invest in an equipment business. And the answer is yes, but not because it's a passion. I do have a deep interest and I know a lot about it, but like think about what it really means to own an equipment company. I gotta source metals. I'm not really passionate about that. I gotta figure out logistics. Not really passionate about that. I'm gonna probably have to go reach out to different influencers and get them to start using my pieces and sending it out to them and getting feedback from them. Not really a passion. But all of those things are required to build this business around the thing that I'm passionate about. And so the reason I'm making this is that most of the, right, they probably weren't passionate about rice or corn or soybeans, but they felt a duty and a pride in providing. And I think that we need to bring that back. The idea that a man can do his duty and feel good for a job well done, knowing that you did an honest day's work and that you left everything that you had in the field. You have nothing left in the tank. Then thought that like high-end cookies was an interesting market. And so he started a high-end baker's, even higher end than Crumble is, and just knocked it out of the park, crushed it. And I remember asking him, I was like, so are you like really passionate about cookies? He like laughed, he was like, no. And I was like, wait, then why would you do this? And he was like, because I'm passionate about being excellent. And that was such a powerful reframe for me that I have taken with me for the rest of my life. Do I love business? I think I have grown to love business because I've gotten good at it. And so when I heard him say that, for me, it was like the ultimate unlock of like, that is what I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about my values, and I will let my values show through in how I do business, rather than saying that the business and what I do every day must be the thing. Every goal worth pursuing, we will do the things that we are reinforced for doing. Now, many people conflate that idea with we will do the things that we're rewarded for. No, we will do the things that we are reinforced for doing. Let me explain. If I said, I have to shock you, you would probably say, this is a punishing event, okay? What if I then said, your family, your wife, kids, are on the other side of the wall. Every shock that you take, they don't have to take. Are you gonna take another shock? Yes. Why? Because it's a reinforcing event. So that's how something negative can still be something positive. Let's flip it differently. If I said for every one of these shocks, you get $1 million, you'd probably be pretty down to take some shocks, right? Interestingly though, your willingness to take shocks over time would go down because the reinforcing event would need more variety. Kind of fun. Anyways, point is, I think the unlock is not to go back to that young man who had his $80,000 savings. He had barely scratched the surface of his potential in sales. There's so much more to the game than that. And the lesson he probably needed was learning to be consistent after something gets boring. Because that is where people fall off, is where it gets boring. Not even hard. It's where you do the same thing over and over and over again. And you want to go nuts because you're like, I can't read the script again. I can't make yet another ad. Before this video today, I just did ad recordings where I read hooks that we know converted with body copy that we know converted so that we could say, hey, if you're a business owner and you're looking to scale up for next year, come to one of our workshops. This year, if we include the book launch, I've made somewhere in the neighborhood of probably 5,000 ads this year. I started making ads 14 years ago. Every single week, I would record the ads so I could run ads to get customers, so I could pay my rent, I could pay payroll, I could pay the insurance, I could pay for the equipment that got broken, I could pay for the new boom box because they were complaining that mine wasn't good enough. I say this because I wasn't like, oh, I'm so passionate about making ads. I'm so, no, but I do want to do a good job. And I think that's something we can strive to go through, where we can translate the difficulty into a reinforcing event. Let me explain this. This is important. I don't even like saying passion. Interests get you started. Proficiency keeps you going, but pain tolerance helps you finish. And so I can only say this about me, which is that I was so afraid of failing that I know that I would have kept going until someone physically prevented me. And so Phil Knight tells the story in Shoe Dog where he says, you're not out of business when your bank account runs out. He said, you're out of business when you have padlocks on your door and people physically stop you from doing work. The main point of this is that the rules society pretends to have, they are made up. Until someone physically restrains you from working, you can keep going. The vast majority of people stop because of perceived failure in their mind. And I love this quote by Jocko Willink. He said, all failure besides death is psychological. It's literally made up stakes with made up goal lines that we decide that we fell short of. But we were the ones who decided where to draw the line. And so, to the same degree to that young man who quit sales early in the career because he wanted to find something he's passionate about, the reality is that it doesn't matter what path he chooses to take, all of them will include tons of stuff that he will hate doing and that he will have to keep doing for extended periods of time. And that in the pain of having to do these repeated things that you are not enjoying, what do you think you do? You try and figure out better ways to do them so that you hate them less. And what do you think that is? It's called getting better. The skill deficiency that you might have and that this young man might have, that many people have, is something called frustration tolerance. It's the number of times that you can be rejected and try again. And here's the best part. It's learnable, which means it's a skill. So let me give you an example. So think of the guy at the club who tries to make out with every girl. In romance, very cringy. Do not do that. But in business, if no one knows how many times you go up to the next door and you knock on the next thing or you send the next email, you're bound to find an opportunity, which the reason the guy in the club still does that is because when he does it, eventually a door opens. He wouldn't keep doing it if it didn't work, as cringy as that may sound. But one of the early lessons that I wish someone had told me, and I want to transfer it to you now, is that when you start, you will be cringy as fuck. You will be awkward, you will be weird, people will look at you, the people you're friends with, people you're dating, hopefully not for long, will make you feel like you're being not cool. And the reality is, they're right. Because when you start, you will suck and you will have no reputation, you will have no track record, and is that a reason to not do it? If you're a loser, yes. Because it means that you care more about their disappointment in you than your own disappointment in you. And some people never care enough about their own opinion that they let everyone else's opinions literally rule the rest of their lives. And these are people who won't even be at your funeral. People who you went to high school with, people you went to college with, people that you're coworkers. You know there's probably right now in your head, you're like, oh, what would other people say? There's probably only 3 people whose opinions you actually care about. Might even just be one. And if you can stop saying other people or thinking about this vagueness of it and get really specific and say, what's the name of the person? Whose actual voice am I hearing? If you then just get to ask the question, is this person's opinion of how I live my life going to be the most important thing that I spend the next 80 years listening to? If the answer is yes, then more power to you. But I don't know about you. I wouldn't want the one voice that I'm listening to for the rest of my life be some random dude that I worked with, or my uncle that said something, or my dad, or my mom, or your sister. And even if they make me look cringe for saying them, which is that you have to learn to suffer. And you have to learn to suffer for something that you deem worth suffering for. And I don't know of anything more valuable to suffer for than the person that you ultimately want to become, the man that you want to become, the woman that you want to become. And when I think about that man, I think about how much suffering would that man have to go through to become the person that I envision? Is it the amount of suffering that I've been through? Not even close. But that means that I have to go through even more than I've been through right now to become that person. And so I then think, okay, well, is there an alternative path? What if I just stop gassing it now? What if I just stop making videos? I don't have to deal with any of these comments. I don't have to deal with any of the hate videos that I get made, right? I don't have to deal with the people calling me fake guru or grifter. All my shit, go grab it, it's free, right? I wouldn't have to deal with any of that. But then I think about that man that I want to be and him looking at me, looking back in today, would he be proud of that decision? And the answer is no. And then that shame that I feel for not living up to that man's standards is what gets me back in the ring. And so I don't. That stopped me on Rodeo Drive. Is sales your life path? I don't know. Is it wholesaling? Is it real estate? Is it starting a marketing agency? I don't know. But what I do know is that every single one of those paths you can be successful on. I also know that every single one of those paths will suck and will take longer than you expect they will. And I also know that every single winner that I have ever spoken to, I can see in them that they have one thing, which is that they will just keep fucking going. They will not know what's going to happen next, and they will keep going. They will fail, and they will try again. And there's something incredibly dangerous about being the type of man that no matter what happens, your competitors know that you will not stop, because there's literally nothing they can do unless you get killed. Besides that, they know that you're going to get up and try again. And when you try that many times for the rest of your life on one thing, you tend to get pretty fucking good at it. And when you get pretty fucking good at something, you become very hard to stop. Hopefully that helps you, which is pick a path and commit to the path. Because the person you want to be is at the end of it, and everything between you now and that man then is the pain that you have to learn to get through. And by the time you learn how to get through that pain, you will be that man.